Hello everybody and welcome back to the awesome Brawl Weekly. We are finally nearing the end. We are almost ready for the conclusion of this awesome and grueling and long tournament. And I am Uberanzi and I am here with the man himself, Oz.
Hello everybody, how's it going? I'm very happy to be here, and I hope everybody is excited for the finals because that's what we're here to do today. And as Uber said before, we are very excited to see everything come to a conclusion, and just with a big bang, really, is what it's going to come down to. So, instead of just kind of keeping us held on to this pre-game nonsense, let's talk about what prizes we have for the tournament, Uber.
Absolutely. Okay, so for prize pools, we've got a 3,000 euros worth of Game Keys prize pool. 3,000 of game keys. There's even things like GTA 5 in there. Tons of expensive and awesome games that will go to the winners, and even some stuff that goes to the lower place members. So for first place, you get 50% of that prize pool, making it 1,500 euros worth of game keys. Second place gets 25%. Third gets 15%. Fourth gets 10%. And then 5th and 6th will get 2 skin members for Astronauts for every single team member that is on that team. And then 7th and 8th, so the lowest contenders for these top 8 will still get 1 skin per member, making it up to 4 skins for free. So as long as you qualify to the top 8, you get a nice hefty bonus, even in like some skins, so you can show how much skill you have. But I think that's enough for the prizes, and we're actually going to be moving on to the draft soon. So are you ready for that, Oz?
Yeah, no, let's do it. Our first game of the day is going to be HDT taking on Akio, and I believe our first map is going to be Ribbit, so we'll go through the picks and bans. So for this particular map, the first ban is going to go to Akio. They opt to ban out Leon. First ban for HDTV is going to be Skoldir. Second ban for Akio going to be the Scoop. Second ban for HDTV going to be Ted and Skoldir, excuse me. Skoldir was the second ban, Ted was the first ban. And as for our picks, first 2 picks are going to go to HDTV, and they're going to pick up the Derpal and the Ayla. Interesting. The first pick for Akio is going to be the Genji, the mighty and powerful Pollen Prophet himself, followed by the other bans. And finally, the last 2 picks for Akio are going to be Rocco and Coco, and the last pick for HDTV is going to be the Clunk. It's going to be played on Ribbit. Now, Uber, what can you see just by these comps alone? What can we expect or anticipate to happen with HDTV's comp?
With HDTV, they've got a really nice pick on Derpal. I don't think the Akio was expecting that right out of the gate, but because it's Ribbit, Derpal's actually very strong. So there's a lot of nuke damage. You've got the insane damage and clearing from Ayla, nuke damage, tanky, beefiness from Clunk, all that beef, even though he's got no beef in him. And then you've got the snare traps to help secure some kills on Derpal. So really, I think HDTV's got a really nice team for Ribbit, and Akio just has like a nice sort of clearing, a general good comp with the damage, initiation / counter initiation, and the clearing. So we'll see how this goes, but are you just about ready to hop into the game here?
I do. One thing that I do want to kind of speak about is the changes to Genji as per the last patch. As far as his Cocoon goes, the abilities of Clunk and Derpal will go through at the end of the Cocoon as opposed to completely just being nullified. So, things to look out for. Clunk starting his Explode, possibly getting Cocooned and finishing off the Explode after once the Cocoon wears off. The same thing goes with the Derpal nuke. But man, when you see a Derpal on Ribbit, the game kind of changes. You really have to play a little bit more safer. You can't go into these jungles. You can't expect to just walk in and not get snared and capitalized on. So HDTV, honestly, I think the Derpal pick is the strongest pick to have on Ribbit, and it was their first pick. So I definitely think they're going for a more technical kind of win the game in the pick and ban phase as opposed to the gameplay phase. But yeah, I'm ready. Besides that, we're 9 seconds in. Would you like to give us a countdown to start?
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, go.
And for Akio, Chun is going to be playing Coco. We have Fowls rocking the Genji and Katobi playing Rocco. As for HDTV, Pushkin's going to be rocking the Ayla, Clunk being played by Rourke, and Badass Ketchup rocking my favorite character in the entire game, the Derpal. So just starting off, mid control is going to go to HDTV just due to Akio not being around and not having the presence from Katobi since he stayed a little bit longer. But, yeah, I think we're going to see some footsie knots and Ketchup opting for Fat Cat early.
Well, Fat Cat, I think, is a very strong upgrade. It's a nice long-range AoE that, every 4 seconds gives him some extra pokes so that he doesn't have to just sit there in turret mode. And he's going to start placing those traps in the mid, except... Oh, actually, I didn't realize that he didn't buy traps. He actually got Split Personality Cat instead. So he has no upgrades right now, but he's got some mean auto attack very early out of the gate with that long range and that split in order to really poke at them. That's an interesting decision. And then on Ayla and Clunk here, we've got the bank into power converter. So that's a little more sustain on Clunk there, which is good. I personally like doing that. I've grown to love power converter a bit more. And he's going to have some nice sustain. He can really tank all that damage and poking that the red team will throw at them. And then on the red team, we've got Badge and Gun and Precision Shot, which is pretty useful for poking and just dealing a lot of damage to those big, beefy characters with large hitboxes. And we've got the Regen on Coco for some more sustain, and the Storm Drum on Genji. So there's a lot of clearing, lots of poking, lots of footsie knots. So this might be a couple of minutes until we actually see a proper big team fight with these big Nuki initiators, because we have no abilities from Derpal. Maybe Genji's going to try and go for a Cocoon here on Clunk. Not too sure, but he does get it. Coco's going to go in with the Lightning Ball, knock him towards the jump pad, but he goes in with the nuke to counter initiate, but he does not hit anybody with it, and now Clunk is very hurt and going to have to potentially go back or get some health, but he appears to be attacking the Solar Boss right now, going for that really early Solar Boss kill at 2 minutes and 13 seconds in, but he's taking some damage, but he's about to nuke it, as long as he doesn't die by accident, but he doesn't. He gets all his health back, and a nice chunk of Solar for his team, as well as a nice chunk of experience, so that'll help him get some levels here, but it seems like Derpal has finally bought Snare Trap. Why do you think he opted for the auto attack upgrades early, Oz?
Well, you stated it earlier, going for that early clear, early AA damage, and he has just that, I think that he's going to fall off a little bit late game because that's quite a bit of solar he had to invest into his cat build. So unless he's going to go full cats, it's going to be very difficult for him to kind of come back from this. Unless he opts to go into his snares, which I would say would be a great option considering an Ayla and a Clunk. We have that Clunk with the regen bite, so he's just going to be able to stay in as long as possible. Foul's going to land that Cocoon, and Chun going to hit with the Coco Ball as well. But it's really going to come down to how is Akio going to get into mid without HDTV giving it up. They have the snares, they have the jungle, they have the slow from Ayla. We have Rourke trying to get that cheeky explode, not going to land it, going to get some backlash from Chun and Fowls, and it looks like the ball is going to land from Chun, but not before he gets caught in the snare, no one there to capitalize on it, and Akio does know that there are snares everywhere. They are playing with sound and obviously are communicating in voice, so they can call these snares out.
Absolutely. The Snare Trap, that might have been a part of the reason why he got Snare Trap a bit later and got the clearing power instead. And what you mentioned before about the red team being able to take the mid, that really won't happen unless they can get a nice pick. If they kill one of their main nukers, they might be able to get that mid earlier, but it looks like Rocco took a bunch of damage there. I wasn't focused on him there, but he took a couple of nukes, I'm going to assume, and he's almost dead already, going to get that health back in the solar boss area. But because the solar boss was dead, there are no worries there. And Clunk is also trying to heal up, but yeah, like, they might be able to get the mid now. Oh, but they got the cocoon on Badass Ketchup. He's gonna nuke them back, though. The double nuke! Genji is so close to dead, but he uses that shield in order to reduce that damage by about 20%. Very good, but he's gonna have to go back. Chun is very hurt, and Katobi's not that great at defending with the split arrow upgrade, even with that AoE, so they got a bit of a push here. Top is almost dead for the red team, as it's got about, if I look at the turret here, it's got about 4 bars left, which is not that much, and the blue team is just taking another solo boss. They're really trying to push for that XP without actually having to kill anybody. And that shield from Genji is actually really helping prevent those early deaths, but still, they've got the snare trap at the bottom here. There's a bit of a team fight going on. Clunk took some nasty damage, but he's got the bite and the health pack at the top of the jump pad there, so he's able to heal it back up. And they've kind of lost control of the mid here for a second. Badass Ketchup is cocooned, but he's going to hit the jump pad and get right back out of there. And he might go for a drop nuke here on Coco / Chun, but he misses. And oh, but he's almost dead to Rocco. Rocco almost got him. Katobi just running for his life. Clunk is chasing him. Can't quite get the bite, but that nice missile. But Rocco has 40 health left. Just barely gets out of there. And now that the Durple has had to gone back, maybe red team can try and push and take that mid control, but Durple's already back, so it doesn't even matter. He's just going to place a bunch of snares here in the upper area of the jungle here, and they just won't be able to push him with that Ayla and Clunk. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Top is almost dead. And if we look at the builds, Clunk has started to get nuke damage. Like, what can the red team do to really like push and get that control of the mid that blue is just denying so well?
It's very difficult to do that, especially on Rivet with the Durple. If Durple doesn't opt to go back and his team is holding mid for him, you know, they're just going to hold on to it until he gets back into lane, and they're going to continue their push, and that's exactly what they've done this game. And a nice Coco Ball going to land on all 3 members of HDTV. Ketchup going to have to run away. Foul's trying to get the kill. Unfortunately, he's going to be pushed back by some turret damage, and Clunk going in for it. He's going to land the exploding, gets the bite, and Fouls is going to be the first victim of HDTV. But that's not without answering back, as Rourke will be Akio's first kill, and Ayla's on the run. I do not know if he's going to be able to escape that one. Pushkin just barely escaping it, and Katobi is going to miss the precision arrow. And Ketchup back into mid. He's going to start the game again, and he's going to take the turret as well. But one thing that I do want to point out on Ketchup is he's basically using that split personality cat as Rocco's SWCA coin. He's pushing them back, you know, passively by attacking the droids.
Absolutely, and something Rocco could do to counter that is to also get the split coin, as I like to call it, or the SWAC coin. I might have said that wrong, I'm not sure. But he's actually gone for the auto attack damage instead, and if we look at Durple, we've got the strengthened trap, so now he can have about like 1.5 extra traps out, and they will last a much longer time. So instead of just like waiting for that trap to burn out, it's just going to last 8 seconds longer, making it a lot harder to clear those traps and like push into the mid. So like they have gained mid control, they've killed the top turret, they're going to start killing bottom, I'm sure. And Falls is so hurt, I didn't even notice that. He took a, I'm going to guess, an Evil Eye or a Clunk nuke and just took some nasty damage there. And here's them rushing the second top turret, dealing a bunch of damage using a nuke on it, and Durple just dealing a tons of damage. There's already about 3 bars gone from it. Clunk gets cocooned, but because of the low health on Falls and Katobi, they can't really punish him for that. They just don't have enough damage to really risk going in and just going in for that kill against those 2 nukers there. And now they're just clearing bottom as well, just trying to get more push going. The top turret is already cracked, and they're trying to clear droids so they can push the bottom turret here. But like, what do you like? It seems like the red team is already in a pretty bad spot, even with the even kills and the semi-even experience here.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult to kind of come back on Rivet, especially, like, we keep talking about how important this Durple pick is, and just Durple's presence alone is terrifying. Rourke trying to come up with the explode, just narrowly going to miss. We should see some counter-engage. Rourke is going to get extremely low due to the collapse from the entirety of Akio, and Akio is finally taking control of mid. After approximately 7.5 minutes, Akio has finally taken this back, and they kind of have a footing to start their push with.
Absolutely. We see a drop nuke coming in on Katobi from the Durple here, but like blue team might just be able to take back the mid control now. Like they've already taken it back. Top of mid is controlled. They've got snare traps on bottom. Chun gets hit by it and then takes a nuke to the face. Doesn't get bit though, but he's very low. He's gonna have to go back and grab that health pack behind the bottom tower. But the nuker squad is falling back here. Clunk and Derpel taking a little bit of damage, trying to be a little safe. But Derpel's about to jump up and get a snare trap in there, but Pushkin actually manages to pick up the kill on Falls, and Chun goes down too to the Derpel auto attack. So now it's only Katobi. He has the split coin and the triple arrow now, as well as one stage of auto attack damage. But they're just going to push top. Bottom's going to be safe, but top is going to go down. There's already going to be base exposure. They're already just melting this turret. They've got the insane auto attacks. They got 2 nukes coming out. There's Rocco finally, but the nuke is going to keep him away from actually helping with that auto attack. Derpel's got the insane range on his auto attack as well. And top is already at 2 bars, like 1.5 bar here, and the blue team just has a few bits and scratches. Like they've already like fallen back to a safe distance, and they've got the mid control again. So the red team can't punish them for their like just tanking that turret there and dealing a bunch of damage. Like there's a nuke coming up from Badass Ketchup, trying to hope that they land in the snare trap, but nothing comes of it. Like the red team's really gonna counter those pushes. Like what do you think they could really build in order to help stop that nuker damage?
Well, before we get into that, I kind of want to go back to that play where Ketchup was able to pick up that second kill on Chun off of Pushkin's disengage. Pushkin running away, Chun trying to come in. Ketchup drops down with the nuke from top jungle and manages to pick up the nuke kill. But it looks like we're going to have the engage from Pushkin, who's going to be able to pick up a kill on Katobi, and the push will continue. HDTV has trucked on through this top lane, and as you said before, they have paved the way to the core. Ketchup going to get hit by the cocoon, and Chun going to get thwarted off by the nuke, but not before he picks off Rourke, and Rourke and fouls at base. Here comes Pushkin in for the final base push. They may be able to end this game right here if Katobi isn't into the map a little bit quicker.
Absolutely, like Katobi finally gets back and is able to scare Clunk away with those precision shots and that scary auto attack damage. But looking at the base here, we've already seen 1/3 of the health gone from the base, and blue team is killing the red team's solar boss as well, because Clunk is so good at doing that with his beefy health. He gets the extra health as well from killing the solar boss, and like both, or actually the first top bottom turret, excuse me, I am mixing up all of my words, has gone down. So there's only 1 turret left for the red team at 11 minutes in. This is like already ending. We might see this end at like the 15-minute mark or so, and the red team just can't push back. Like if we look at the builds here, we've got the conducting gel and the voltage amplifier on Coco in order to get that extra poking and damage. But Pushkin picks up a kill on Chun. As I was just mentioning Chun's build, misses the evil eye on Katobi, but it's like steals that health back too. The red team just has to fall back. They can't deal with that rage damage and the 2 nukes and the snare traps. Falls is just stuck here. He can't go back to the base unless he teleports, and that's going to waste a bunch of time. Pushkin is super hurt, but he's just going to get out of there. Katobi is super hurt. Falls is super hurt. He's trying to clear the super droid that is just killing the bottom turret, but Katobi's just trying to defend. He gets hit by the nuke, and he goes down. The base is already at half a bar. It's almost destroyed. They are 1 down, but Badass Ketchup goes down. But is it going to end here? Chun gets hit by the snare trap, but nothing happens because of it, because of the cooldowns and the long cooldowns on Rourke and Clunk and just all this insane stuff. But Ayla's back. If they could get 2 kills here with Katobi dead, then they're just going to win. Falls just like falling back, but Ayla's got that construct damage as well. There's the nuke, and Chun goes down to the missile with the AoE. They are pushing the base so hard. Misses the cocoon. Falls goes down. Rocco is back. It's 1 bar. It's 1 bar. The droids are going to do it. They're saying GG preemptively, and they win the game at 12 minutes and 25 seconds. The game goes to HDTV. What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Lack of mid control from Akio and excellent disengages from HDTV. There were quite a few times there where I saw Badass Ketchup dropping with those nukes to save Rourke, to save Pushkin, and he was just so perfectly placed. He was always at the right time when he needed to be. His snares were in very good positions. He opted for the increase time on snare so that they'd stay out a little bit longer, as well as snare duration towards the end of that game, and he didn't even pick up nuke damage. He went straight for that cat build into the regen and the finally empowered grid. So I mean, his sustain in lane was just absolutely terrifying. You know, even after 1 engage, as long as he had Rourke and Pushkin there to soak some damage, he'd be able to heal up and he'd be right back in the action. You know, they had mid control for, I would say, well over 9 minutes of that game. So taking 75% of that game went to HDTV in mid. And Ribbit is one of those maps where if you don't have mid-control, you will lose. And this was just textbook.
Absolutely, like that 75% of the mid control, the 25% was them controlling the red base. That was just absolutely like brutal. Just they just didn't let up. They had the great mid control like you were just talking about. He didn't need the nuke damage, so he opted for the support with the snare duration on the grip trap, making it like 2.5 to 3 seconds of snare. And like even with Curry, it would have been still like 2 seconds. And then you got the nuke damage and the missile upgrades from Clunk and Ayla, just building into the usual Ayla shtick with the rage damage and the size and the movement speed as well as early kills. But yeah, blue team just dominated that match. That was insane.
Well, you know, one thing that I do want to say is that these players like adapt to everything, and you know, when we have two, I would like to say, cross-continent teams playing against each other, a lot of these teams will change their build path in order to, I don't want to say play to the leg, but kind of cater to it. So I think that Pushkin going for the rage size against a Japanese team, it's a tactic. You know, it's there. You have to adapt to your type of game, and this was one of those games where they adapted, and going for that increase on rage size as well as tricycle and just rage damage early on while picking up jump rope a little bit later was definitely beneficial for them. But other than that, you know, do you see any other build paths here that could have swayed the tides here in favor of Akio?
In favor of Akio, maybe we could have seen some something I saw last week as well, and something that's pretty viable is going for the spiritual cooking, go for a more defensive instead of auto attack Genji build there. The auto attack is always a solid upgrade, but in order to counter that nuke damage and mid control, he could have barriered into having the extra health from spiritual cooking, and then they could have maybe been able to like tank a nuke and then finish them off and punish them for using that nuke due to the long cooldowns and the actual self damage from Clunk. But really, that was just like, I don't think there was much that the red team could have done after like that solid 8 to 9 minutes of mid control.
Yeah, no, there was really not much to come back from after that much damage was done. That top turret was taken, and after that it was all downhill for Akio. But, alas, we should get into our next game. We are going to take a quick break to set up. Keep an eye on the chat for our giveaway, and we'll be back in a few moments.
Remember, skins equal skills. Hello everybody and welcome back to the awesome Brawl Weekly Top 8 Finals. I am Uberanzi and we have the wizard himself, Oz, with me to cast these next couple matches.
Hey, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's probably me. I'm hiding behind the curtain right now. Probably not, though. Anyway,
yeah.
We'll go straight into Game 2 of HDTV taking on Akio, going through the picks and bans. We're going to be playing this one on Agian, and we are going to see some crazy things, I guarantee it, because I watched this match before, and you guys are going to like this.
You probably shouldn't say that.
What? Hey, we're as live as we can get. I always watch the matches. I always try to see what's cool.
We're so live. We're in the future. Okay,
that's
but
right.
anyways, for the set of drafts for the second match here, we've got Team Akio banning the. As long as I have the right one here, I believe I do. Team Akio banning the Leon and the Rocco, and then we've got Team HDTV banning the Scoop and the Ayla. And if we look at Team Akio's team composition, we've got Genji, Ted, Lux, pretty solid team. Yeah, I saw the Genji into Ted airstrikes on Agalon before, and it was absolutely crazy, especially if you run something like a double RPG. It was actually this very same team, so I'm excited to see their Ted play. I love watching them. And then on Team HDTV, we've got the Clunk, the Coco, and the Ksenia. So we've got the Nuke, the Clear, the Initiation, Assassination with that slow and silence potentially. So Agalon, it's a pretty good map for nuker and sort of high damage characters that are a bit slower or need to really get the jump on their opponent, like Clunk. So this is going to be perfect for Clunk and Lux, I think. And Genji can make use of that in Viz as well, but this will be an exciting match. Probably going to be a bit more even match than the last one with the Durple pick on Ribbit, and I can't wait. Are you ready to, do you have any notes you want to say?
Yeah, Jimmy and Ted on the same team is crazy. Incorporate a Genji into that, and that is absolutely terrifying. That is nightmare fuel at its finest. You're gonna get collapsed on so unbelievably quickly, cocooned, airstrike, and rocketed all at the same time. But that's not to rule out HDTV. Ksenia, despite her nerfs, she's still a very strong knot in competitive play, especially with the right type of communication that these teams have. Coco and the Clunk together, you know, they're just so many ways that both of these teams can capitalize on their synergy and really think their abilities well so that they can pick up quick and easy kills. And like you said before, when you have nuke teams, shit is going to hit the fan very quickly. Like, it's going to get very real very quick for both of these teams, especially on Agian where you have that invis. You know, you definitely want to keep an eye on that and have teams timing the invis, ensure that they have good positioning for it, fighting around there. It responds after every minute that it's been picked up. So from the time that it's been picked up, count a minute and it will be back. We'll also be giving pointers out on when to look for that. But if you're ready, I am ready. Give us a countdown and let's get started.
Absolutely, I will get the countdown. You are ready at the 9-second mark?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
And playing for HDTV, rocking the Clunk once again is Rourke. Jambo is going to be playing Coco, and Ketchup playing Ksenia. As for Akio, Katobi rocking the Ted, Shun playing Jimmy, and Fowls rocking Genji once again. Looks like first invis is going to go to Fowls. Let's see if they can make anything happen in the beginning parts of this game. Rourke is just going to hug the health. And it looks like Jimmy's going to try to get behind and start that dash, but he's going to get hit by a huge airstrike, and Jambo's going to be forced to get back. Rourke is going to pick up the first kill, actually, as Chun will be the first victim. 44 seconds in.
I was not expecting the first blood to go to the blue team after that nice cocoon out of invis and that airstrike. But Clunk just managed to get that clutch kill and the bite in order to finish off Jimmy there. And now he's going to take a hefty loss there. If we look at the bias here, we see something very similar to the last game on Clunk with the bank into power converter. And we've got airstrike DOT just for a little bit of extra early damage on airstrike from the Ted to capitalize on that Genji synergy, as well as the Jimmy as well. But the blue team's got that poke for days. We've got the missiles, we've got the knives, we've got the Coco Balls. Like, there's not much that the red team can do in terms of poking. We don't have the Tetris on Ted. Like, he can throw out airstrike, we've got missiles, but that's kind of a waste of some valuable burst. But we got the cocoon on Jambo here from Falls, and the nuke comes down and hits Jimmy, but Shun is just barely getting out of there, but Falls goes down. to the Ksenia, Knives, and auto attack combo, and Rourke just barely gets out of there, but Ted is starting to damage Coco there, but manages to get out. But now Ketchup's in kind of a bad spot, doesn't have virtual goal in order to get that vulnerability frame or go behind people, straight through them, I mean. But he does manage to get out anyways because the Invis is very strong, especially on a mobile agile character with a nice, very high double jump there. But we see the red and blue teams both trying to clear and get some more money, especially after those 2 kills on the blue team already. How do you think red team's going to retaliate and really get some payback for those 2 early kills?
Well, you know, it looks like it's starting off going to HDTV again with this mid control, but it isn't Ribbit. Now, Akio can kind of move around and not get punished by that Durple every single time they try to rotate. So, I mean, Akio's rotations need to be in sync with every member on their team. They can't kind of fall short on these, and it looks like Atobi's going to pick up the Invis at the 227, so look for that around 230. And Chung taking a lot of damage. He's going to get picked up in the bot lane on his lane change by Rourke. And 3-0, up by 1 level already, and a decent amount of solar, probably about a half an upgrade so far, but that's very hard to come back from early game. I mean, if you can make it to the late game and kind of bring yourself back into the game a little bit, you know, farm up those creeps, farm in front of the turret, but every single time you do that, you're taking, or excuse me, HDTV is going to take a few bars off of their turret. And it seems to me like the meta for HDTV is to get Clunk in there to start tanking the turret and just deal as much damage as they can, even without a push. Rourke going to go in on Shun, nothing going to be made of it, and both teams just going to continue rotating.
Absolutely. Something I'd like to mention is that Agalon has a very scary bottom lane. It's very tight, it's very it's very tiny is a better word for it than tight, but it's very small, and Jimmy can work wonders there, but as can Clunk and Ksenia. You can get so many body blocking combos and just a lot of damage, especially on characters with a slow nuke timer like Clunk. Clunk misses the explode on Jimmy, but does take some other damage, but then the airstrike finishes him off on the top lane, all the way from bottom, downtown. Gets that nice airstrike to pick up another kill, and there's the retaliation I was talking about. So maybe the red team will try to make a bit of a push on top here, clear something, but Ksenia and Coco are still alive, giving them that nice clearing and just ability to keep away. But Chun is taking a bunch of damage, but he manages to dash away, and the Cocoon on Jambo, nothing's going to happen to it. No, Ted is not going to go in for that airstrike. Probably a smarter decision. Might have been in cooldown as well. You know, try not to get too risky because they are still behind by a level and a couple kills here.
Now, I do want to touch up on Ted's build for the early game. He just opted for stealth and ninja weapons, which is just going to add DOT to the airstrike, which I believe he kind of picked an effort to assist with that lag a little bit, you know, kind of catering to the game and working around that. So, you know, it is a tactic, you know, changing that build path. Invis is going to go to Chun at 430, going to be wasted. Foul's going to go in. Rourke is going to take the brunt end of it. Looks like he's taking a lot of damage, and he's going to go down, but not before getting the explode off on Chun and Katobi. And Ketchup going to hold on to that Invis while Coco heads back and Jamba goes to buy.
Absolutely. We see Badass Ketchup actually taking a lot of damage in that DOT as well. It's very minor, doing only about 100 damage at level 8 or so, which is what its original damage was before XP systems were introduced. But it's still a nice little upgrade just because you can get it so early. And then if we look at Coco, she's got the cooldown and the voltage amplifier for just damage and cooldown so that you can throw out more damage. But that nice airstrike on Jambo and Ketchup. Clunk goes in with the nuke, but I believe he may have hit Ted with that, but he has to back out anyways because his teammates are not there. They're hurting too hard, bleeding out. They have to go back and get to some safety. But if we look at the builds, because a couple people just went back, we've got the storm drums on Genji as well as the DOT for some extra auto attack damage. We've got the maxed DOT and the stun strike on Ted, which is very strong, you know, getting that little extra CC out of the Cocoon as well. That's even more stun, just to apply more damage. And then we've got Bobcat and Froggy Afro from Ksenia here, which means that you deal extra damage really to turrets and while you're clearing, or when there's only one knot, you manage to single somebody out. And the extra damage on Scissors after landing a combo is very nice. And then we've got the nuke damage on Clunk, very standard along with the power converter. But Clunk actually gets cocooned here, eats the stun strike, taking a bunch of damage, but falls in a terrible spot, takes the nuke, but then Clunk gets killed by the danger pins from Lux. And that is a 1 for 1. But Ketchup goes down as well, but Chun is so hurt, but so is Jambo. Can he throw it a ball? He doesn't hit Chun, but Chun dies to the droids!
Droids!
Oh no! Making that 2 for 1, a 2 for 2, the absolute MVPs of the match. But due to the people left alive, they're going to be able to clear really well because they have Coco and Ted, and the blue team and red team are now starting to stabilize. That was brutal, and that poor Lux just, oh man.
That was actually pretty funny. I was actually just about to comment on how amazing his Brawl potential was, and then he dies to the droids and completely shuts me down. Rourke gonna get hit by the cocoon, not gonna get capitalized by Chun. But the danger pins, yeah, man, those are extremely terrifying, especially when he's got you running into the turret. You're not gonna get out of that. You're gonna take a front end of Jimmy's attacks. You're getting hit by the turret, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And alongside that, you're getting dealt extra damage at the end of the dash. And it looks like Pushkin will be able... Oh, excuse me. Rourke is going to try and rotate down. Ketchup going in, starting the engage on Chun, taking half his HP. And Jambo's going to get hit by Foul's Cocoon. Rocket's coming out on Jimmy. Nothing going to be made of it. Another ball, actually. Not going to hit for Jambo, though.
Indeed, so looks like we've got a bit of a push. You were talking about earlier about how Rourke is like they're kind of trying to get Clunk pushed in there with that power converter and like just have him soak up damage so they can get those cheeky turret pushes. That looks like that's what they're trying to do on bottom here with it being cracked with a couple bars gone from it. They've got a little bit of turret damage over the red team, but they both have some good clearing push cover. Here comes the nuke, hitting every single person. Can they pick up the kill on Chun? Yes, they do. He doesn't have bite in order to kill Kotobi, but it's a 1-for-1. But that nuke was amazing, but that stun strike manages to hit Clunk, and he gets hit by the cocoon. That's a little bit extra damage due to the lifesteal. He's very hurt, but he gets a bite on Ted, managing to get away, and Ted is very hurt as well. But Clunk is bottom, but these droids, he's got to clear him. He can't use that airstrike on Clunk, and Clunk just teleports there. He just asserts his dominance on that Ted, just like, you get out of my bottom lane. And it seems like most of the teams are actually kind of going back to buy now, and then we're just starting to see them all go back now, so we might see a huge team fight in a second in the top area. But if we look at the builds here for a second, we've got Starstorm statue on Ted here, dealing 10% extra damage with everything he has, as well as some regen, so he's not opting for something like, say, Curry Mammoth. But I'm guessing he's going to get pills a little later, but he's not going to be able to get something like Curry Mammoth, which, against a team like that, it's not a huge deal unless they stack something like slow, but either way. And then we've got Virtual Duel finally, and the extra silence on Ksenia in order to be a little more risky and also get that longer silence in order to initiate safer. And we're seeing the missile build from Clunk.
Now, I do want to brush up upon Ted, as you were talking about before, you know, the possibility of picking up BKM. On Ted, it's, in my opinion, a little bit of a waste. You know, Ted is one of these characters who just tries to get as much damage done as possible, but it looks like he's going to be the one taking as much damage as possible as Ketchup goes in for a quick engage and forces him back. But Ted's one of these characters where if you're not building Starstorm on him, you're losing out on a lot of damage, and I mean a lot. You know, it really does add up, and it looks like Chun is going to take the brunt end of Ketchup once again. Invis will go to Rourke, but not before he gets Cocooned. The good thing about the new Genji is that even though he did hit the Cocoon, he's not going to turn Rourke visible. We'll hold on tight and Biz for a few more seconds until he burns it or uses the attack. And it looks like that top turret will slowly be dwindled down as Rourke is going to start to tank it. Ketchup going to be taking a lot of damage from that seemingly missed airstrike, but okay, we'll take it. And Ketchup is going to be teleporting back. Rourke picking up the creeps. Jumbo going back to clearing.
Yeah, back to the good old-fashioned footsie knots. You can't have a knots game without it. And due to the teams that they have, they can clear extremely well. So the footsie knots really just is rather short. We've got good clear on the teams, good pushing power as well. Chun taking some slow and damage from Ksenia and Coco there. But he's actually going to go back, making him out of the fight for about 10 seconds here. And Ted is just clearing bottom while Clunk does a bunch of damage to the turret. You're making it about half its health from the bottom turret there. So they're about to have two turret kills if they can maybe pick up a kill. And we've got the super droid pushing the top lane as well. But it looks like Chun and Fells are going to try and deal with that just so that it doesn't poke at the top turret and take off like a bar Fells. But we've got the push on bottom as well from Clunk, just constantly poking that bottom turret with the AoE missiles, tons of range. But we see that the blue team is a little hurt backing off, goes for the airstrike but misses it, just barely off on that Coco and that Ksenia as well. But it appears that Coco actually has to go back and buy, getting the movement speed on Blaze as well as damage on Blaze for a little bit more brawling capability, getting that little extra bit of DOT and some escape / initiation on that Blaze. What do you think about the And something a little off topic, what do you think about the auto attack build on Lux with that brawling capability?
You know, I said it before about the safety pins or the danger pins. They're just going to deal a lot of damage. Rourke is actually going to get caught out. He's going to start that explode. He's not going to be able to hit it. The counter airstrike coming in. Rourke is actually going to pick up the kill on Shun, but Fouls will pick up Rourke, quote unquote, in the process. HD Ketchup trying to catch out Katobi. It looks like he's going to deal some damage, but the shotgun and Fouls' AA is too strong, and Ketchup will go down. And it looks like the tides have turned a little bit in favor of Akio for this one.
Absolutely, like they might actually be able to get a push here and counter the turrets here, but that airstrike, oh, is he going to die from DOT? He's so close to the regen. The two-state, or excuse me, he doesn't have regen, that was Ksenia, my bad, but the base regen managing to keep him alive. Just that, like, 10 health per second there. Kills a creep, but he's going to have to go back anyways with, maybe buy someone with a little bit of cash or just get some money. But the red team didn't really make a push. They cracked the top turret, so they did a little bit of damage to the top turret here. Took about a third of its health, but we've got a cocoon on Rorik, and he might go for the nuke, but he takes a stun strike. He's so hurt, and he gets killed by Chun with that insane auto attack with the size on Rattle Wave. And we see Jambo go down as well. That's a double kill. That brawling capability, that auto attack damage, the size on it, it doesn't even matter. But badass Ketchup manages to pick up the kill onto Katobi and get out of there with that virtual girl and that invis. And now they're starting to push bottom here. It looks like Chun is looking for Ketchup just to keep Genji safe, perhaps, just to watch out for that initiation. But there he is, but he's very low, so that was kind of a silly mistake. If there was a charge there, he might have been able to catch him, but that virtual girl might have helped, but it was on cooldown, but that could have been a mistake. But either way, they'd finally take a turret down, taking down the bottom turret at about 13 minutes in, and the top turret is a little hurt, but I think the next turret kill is going to be for the blue team, and the bottom turret's going to go down there. And looking back at the builds now, there's a bit more footsie knots again. We've got the spiritual cooking on Genji, increasing the max health by a very solid amount, 250 at base with both upgrades. And then double missile on Clunk, getting that raw missile damage instead of something like missile speed or salvo value pack. Getting that extra turret power and pushing power, you know, as well as being good at dealing with the squishier characters like Ted and Genji. But we've got a.
This isn't going to look good for Rourke as he's going to get hit by that airstrike. The second airstrike coming in, but Rourke is actually going to be able to pick up a kill on Fouls. Shun going to run away and catch up, and the entirety of HGTV going to take the kill and run with it. Possibly pick up the bottom turret. And I think Rourke is really setting the Clunk meta as far as pushing goes. Clunk has kind of been turned into a push monster in these last few games that I've seen. Opting for the regen first on Bite and just being able to stand in front of the turret without a problem. The double airstrike going to pick up the kill on Jumbo, and Katobi being very smart, picking up double airstrike as well as the stun on airstrike earlier, the Care Bear. So, you know, combining the lag, looks like that first airstrike's going to land, that second airstrike's going in and going to pick up an assist. So Chung will pick up a kill on Rourke, and Ketchup going to get taken apart. I'm
sorry for interrupting. I just want to mention that size on Rattle Wave. That looked wrong. That was some insane size on that auto attack there. And it looks like the team is sort of wiped here with Coco just getting back now, but they might be able to push the top turret here. Like, what did you think about the
that size?
You were talking, yeah, the size.
A little bit ridiculous, but you know, cross-continent teams. That's some of that stuff is to be expected. Shenanigans. So
absolutely, but something else to mention about the push Clunk as well. It seemed his auto attack, I feel like maybe not so much underrated, but just not talked about as much, is his insane auto attack damage against turrets. He does so much damage against structures with his auto attack, like, and so much beefiness and the nuke damage on a structure as well as being able to snare people and maybe get that nuke behind a turret. He's so good at pushing, it's ridiculous.
In before Clunk knew Lone Star.
Oh man. In before Clunk and Lone Star.
Engage is going to begin. Shun taking a lot of damage. Rourke going to activate the explosion. Going to deal some damage to Shun, and Katobi will pick up Ketchup. And it looks like they're going to continue this engage as Rourke is going to be on the run with that very short cooldown on the Cocoon, is going to secure the kill. And another counter push in favor of Akio, making the kill lead at 5. 14-9. You know, a 2-level difference at this point. Late game Akio. Here they come.
Absolutely, like we've got both turrets down for Akio, so we've got 2 turrets down on for both teams here, but blue team's bottom turret actually went down, not went down, took a little bit of extra damage as well. Just a couple bars, but I didn't notice that they actually did manage to get their droids pushed up far enough to do that there. But we're seeing some more upgrades from Team Akio here because of the money from getting those kills in that turret. We've got the healing on Monarch Blessing, so that as well as the extra max health, we've also got the healing as well. And we've got cooldown on charge, getting that extra danger pins, but forget about that, we've got a cocoon on Coco, but she manages to get out with that speed on the Blaze, and Clunk is so hurt. Rorik goes down to the Chun auto attack. So much damage, so much sustain. And we see Ksenia there trying to go after Chun, but Chun knows she's there, gets a couple auto attack swings on her in order to stop her from picking him off. But we've got the red team pushing up. We've actually got grenades on Ted as well in order to deal with those droids a little more effectively at a range. But Badass Ketchup is very hurt here, goes down to the shotgun shell, that 380 damage shotgun shell, the Starstorm in the level 13, absolutely insane. We've also got the auto attack damage coming out from Ted as well, and they're trying to chase Coco here a bit with that speed, but the Blaze movement speed, but he misses the airstrike, gets the danger pins, he's so hurt, and the laggy auto attack from Genji just manages to pick him up, or maybe not lagging, it depends. Laggy, it depends on whose view that was during the match. But we've got the Cocoon here on Ted, taking another airstrike, taking another one too, but he gets the nuke off, and it doesn't matter that you're going to just try and maybe tank the turret here, but Badass Ketchup is back. They're dealing a bunch of damage to these turrets, they're just constantly getting these kills. It's only Badass Ketchup, only playing the Ksenia. She can't really defend here, but she's taking a bunch of damage. She's got the DOT. She's just barely going to live, and she's got that bonus damage on the scissor as well, so she might be able to initiate here with Coco. And we've also got the extra slow on Blaze as well, so I don't believe she has Heavenly Fire, but she can just kind of go in there with that movement speed in order to maybe keep them away. But bottom turret is at 4 bars here, and if we look at the top turret here, it's at about half health, so they got a nice push there, not killing anything, but they're definitely going to kill something if they can get another nice push in.
And one thing that I do want to touch up on is how well-rounded Akio's team is. You pointed out that they have the sustain, they have the damage, they basically have everything that they need to take a win from this. And if this does happen to go to a Game 3, I fully expect HDTV to ban out Genji.
I mean, I totally agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they, like, maybe even go for something a little more eccentric, like a ban on Ted or Luxu, because I've seen Akio's Ted play before, and there's another kill for Ted. Killing machine now, 6 kills in a row without dying. I've seen his Ted, and he's a pretty good Ted. He goes for the airstrike damage early, but he also gets stunned on airstrike and double RPG instead of the raw damage. Starstorm statue. This is kind of what he's done in the last few games before the other weeklies, and he's just been a really solid Ted, and I like watching him, and he's just so much damage, and it's really good in that brawling from Lux. It's just really good, and they've got that pushing power. And speaking of pushing, that looks like the bottom turret is going to go down for the blue team. First base exposure of the game for the red team here, I suppose. But we've got the airstrike on Badass Ketchup. Badass Ketchup trying to kill Ted here, just so close to dead. Badass Ketchup is also so close to dead. They might try to chase each other and go for the kill, maybe a double KO or something. Badass Ketchup takes the Cocoon to the face and gets killed by the missiles from Lux. Yeah, we've got the droids attacking the base here, so Clunk has to go back to that, but he's so slow, so he's not going to be able to get back to the front lines for a bit. We've got a super droid on bottom. We've got Ksenia dead for another, like, 10 seconds or so, 15 seconds or so, including the drop. They're just pushing the base. They're just attacking the base. Like, Coco's over there, and Clunk is just up top here. He's got the nuke, but because of the shielding and the health regeneration, it doesn't even matter. The base is already taking a bunch of damage. It's already gone 3 bars. 1/4 of its health is just gone. Coco taking so much damage from that, Lux auto attack, the rattle wave, even if it doesn't like directly hit you for that 200 damage or so, the little rattle effects still hit you. But we've got the super droid killing Coco, killing Jambo, and Badass Ketchup goes down as well. But we've also got the Genji down, so they don't have that support. But the blue team is wiped out. They're just pushing the base. There's like no hope for the blue team here, and it's just they're gonna push it with that super droid. I am sorry for cutting you off, but that was just wow. Insane.
No, that was a very interesting ending for HDTV. You know, early game HDTV seemed like they were going to take that one, but here we are 20 minutes later at a level difference of 4, 16 to 12, and a kill difference of 13.
23 to 10, and unbelievable.
That Genji is just so powerful, and when he's able to consistently hit these cocoons, just allow enough time for Lux and Ted to get into the mix, it's a recipe for disaster. It's terrifying. A cocoon is basically confirmed death. Confirmed on stream, if you get cocooned, you're gonna die.
Confirmed. Cocoon exposed. Confirmed death. We've exposed it. Exposed to the media. Drama alert.
But still, I mean, HDTV, they had a very strong comp. It looked like they were going to take that early on. Roar kind of changing the meta for me, at least, with this Clunk. Now that I see this Clunk, whenever I go and play later, I'm going to try to build the regen and just go for turret pushing as opposed to being that brawler type. But I really do like what Rourke is doing with his Clunk. He's forcing the enemy team to go and defend the turrets. He's taking away lane time from them, taking away some XP, some solar, and him alone forcing them back into their turret is in turn allowing HDTV to get these first 2 turrets at a very quick point in the game. We saw it happen on Rivet, and it happened early on in this game, but Akio coming back hard with fouls, taking that late game and taking game 2. I fully expect HDTV to ban Genji in game 3. What about you?
Absolutely. This match is a perfect example of why Genji has been one of the most popular bans in the entire tournament, or in general, really, for the last several patches, or just even in all of history. He's such a good character. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, but we're gonna go to game 3. We're gonna take a short break to prepare ourselves and get the replays ready. You guys pay attention to the chat as a giveaway will take place, and we will be back.
other side. One move, me and you two step away through the door, following your footsteps like a little child. Feed me, oh, I scream some more. I'm a fool, my sanity's consumed, nothing left for me to do. I'm bad too, like two pairs of shoes, trying to put my feelings in a box for you. I'll see you on the other side.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Awesome Brawl Weekly Top 8 Finals. Third match coming up, and I am Uberlanzi, and with me is the wonderful wizard of... who?
Oz is right. We really have to stop getting cornier and cornier with these terrible and terrible puns. but we won't
Yeah.
because we're also
No more time travel this time. We're like, no more time travel, no more wizards. We're just gonna go. We're gonna do it.
Oh, man, wow. Game 2 was pretty intense, you know. Akio coming back, picking up the win for Game 2, bringing it to Game 3 that's going to be played on Ribbit. Let's take a look at our bans and picks for Game 3. As for Akio, bans are going to be Leon and Coco. Or, excuse me, as for
Yeah, that's
HDTV,
HDTV. I was just about
the
to
bans are
correct
going to
you
be Leon and Coco. And for Akio, Ted and Sentry. As to why Genji wasn't picked or banned for this one, I couldn't tell you. But HDTV not going to be able to use that Derpal since it was Akio's first pick this time. Akio going to try to do things a little bit differently, rocking the Scoop, Scoldier, and the Derpal. HDTV going to utilize Ayla, Clunk, and Rocco. Once again, we are going to be seeing Ribbit gameplay, so expect that Derpal to be hiding in the jungle for a majority of the game, being the jungle menace that he is with his snares, picking up those snare traps. Things to expect. What do you think's going to happen in this game, Uber?
So as we see, we don't have the double nuker combo. In fact, the Derpal has kind of changed hands here. Like there was a new contract, so they had to just move him over to the other team. But we've got the Scoldier and the Scoop, so that's, you know, pretty generic. Snare, throw, kill him combo into the turret. Pretty good as long as you have a turret. And then we've got the Derpal with the ability to camp out that mid, secure that mid, and then nuke people in the face. But on HDTV, we've got a lot of damage, like an absurd amount of damage and push. We've got Ayla with that AoE clear and damage, we've got Clunk with that AoE nuke, and we got Rocket with that nice single target damage, and they can all push pretty well. Maybe not Ayla, but she has to be close to the turret, but she does still have some decent pushing power. But yeah, we'll see. We've got the really good stalling power of Derpal against this insane push and damage and like possibly anti-tanky team comp of HDTV, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, if you're ready, I am ready. I am at the 9-second mark. Give us a countdown and let's get started.
Alright, I am so excited. I will give the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
As for Akio, playing on the blue side, Katobi going to be playing the Derpal, Chun rocking Scoop, and Fowls playing the terrifying Scoldier. Rourke gonna continue and be consistent playing Clunk. Ayla gonna be played by Pushkin, and Rocco by Badass Ketchup. Mid control is gonna go to HDTV. No throw, surprisingly, from Fowls early on. And it looks like Rourke, Pushkin, and Ketchup are just gonna stand in there. Ketchup's actually gonna opt to clear the snares. Now in this game, I would really like to see someone pick up BKM so that they can clear those snares from Derpal. Katobi gonna start, or I was gonna expect him to go down, but it doesn't look like they are, and the clearing game begins.
Absolutely. I feel like if we're going to see a BKM, it might be from the Scoop or the Derpal. The Derpal doesn't really... Or, I mean, excuse me, that's the wrong team. I am not a smart person. If we are going to see the BKM this match, it's probably going to be from Ayla, so she can just, like, go in there and deal with less snares and stuff. And then, if we look at the builds right now, at this very moment, we've got the Stun Punch, the Bank and the Stun Punch. Oh, there was actually a kill off screen. Like, oh, I am all over the place this match, but there was a nuke on the Clunk there, so there's an early kill for Falls, and there was also the kill a bit earlier, so we've got 2 kills already for Team Akio here, and we've got the Stun Punch is what I was trying to talk about before, and there's the Stun Punch into throw that I was just talking about. That's already 3 kills. Like, I was kind of all over the place there, and it's just like there's already 3 kills. What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Akio, Ribbit, Derpal, Scoop, and Scoldier happened, and it looks like another throw into the snare, into the explode, and Bindings. The nuke is actually going to take out Katobi. Not the nuke, excuse me, the explode is going to take out Katobi, but it looked like it was going to be the other way around. I fully expected Rourke to die in that one, getting thrown from behind his turret into a snare in the entirety of Akio, but miraculously he managed to survive.
Well, I mean, that chicken is pretty sturdy, a pretty beefy chicken. But
yeah, in the game of chicken, I guess he won.
Yeah, but we've got the like the Stun Punch, Bank of the Stun Punch, and we've got Earthquake now. So like the snare, Stun Punch, throw, nuke, snare trap. Like there's so much CC. Like we're gonna have to see a current member, at least one from like maybe Clunk or Rocco here, just so that they can have that sort of fighting and initiation potential. But Ayla taking a lot of damage, getting a little bit of DOT from that Earthquake, was able to kill those creeps, and Falls having to go back and maybe buy some more upgrades. I'm not sure how much cash he has, but we'll see. The mid control is now going to HDTV now, and that's very good because they've got that mid control over the Durple, which is very important because we saw in the first match of the set. Oh, but that throw one, badass Ketchup just gets stun punched, and he's dead again already.
Now, hold on. Before we get any further into that, I just want to talk about the positioning of Katobi during that. He knew that Fouls was going to go in for a throw, and he positioned himself on that top bouncer all the way up top, started in siege mode, and then dropped down and nuked right in front of his turret. That's really good communication on their part, and an excellent way to pick up a kill.
Absolutely, you were totally right. Like, the top turret is already going to go down for the red team. He's taking those precision shots. He can't quite kill it, but it has absolutely no health visible on that health bar. And if we actually look at HGTV's kind of counter build to the blue team here on Accio, we've got the nuke damage right away. Maybe the deal with those, if he gets thrown into the snare trap and he is going to die, that little bit of extra damage might help, you know, persuade them to not throw them as much and maybe risk getting doubled. There goes the top turret for Team Accio here, but here comes the jump nuke. Doesn't hit anything because Durple's over by the turret, but that throw also doesn't hit anything. So everyone's on cooldown right now for a few seconds here. Pushkin taking a bunch of damage. The stun punch is coming out on Rocco. His Vengeance isn't going to do too much. The blue team is just really beefy. There's not much the red team can do against that. They don't have those damage upgrades they need, and that really nice like kill and solar lead on the blue team is just crazy. We've got a bit of a push going bottom here. The nuke hits the tower. It's already half health, and people just, the blue team just backs off here. Team Accio just backing off, not taking too much damage. The failed throw on Fouls, and Fouls is just super hurt. Might get chased by Rocco here, but Ayla has to back off due to the low health. Picks up a health back and is right back in that fight. We've already got the banners and the scoop bindings damage. I'm stumbling all over my words, but we've got the scoop bindings damage already, banking into banner triple scoop as well as getting double idle of the Ice Queen in order to get that extra bursty damage with those snare traps and the throws and etc. And then we've got the rage damage on Ayla already. So like, what do you think that Rocco's going to do? Do you think he's going to build like precision shot or just go straight like denying like auto attack like split bomb?
I'm not sure, but Rourke is going to pick up Chun in that last engage, and I mean, Ketchup, he's going to be a little bit lackluster in the early parts of this game until he can kind of build into his Vengeance and slows a little bit, because as long as Fouls is going to be able to get in and land his throws, he's going to have a, HDTV is going to have a very difficult time with staying in lane and being able to push those turrets. They're going to get constantly thrown, and with the addition of BKM and maybe some additional slow from the Vengeance, he could come back to this. Fouls going to take a lot of damage, but Rourke is going to be perfectly
He's just wailing on Katobi there.
And Katobi gonna opt to not unsiege and try and snare Ketchup. And Ketchup will get his continued push on top with Pushkin, but not before Chun's gonna come in to deal a little bit of damage. And the throw from Fouls narrowly gonna miss. Ketchup going one way, Pushkin going the other. They know that they both need to get away, but Fouls is gonna kill Ketchup. What?
That was, he got hit by that snare punch and that really strange earthquake. That earthquake, that seemed very close. Like, it just barely hit him. Just pixels, little itty bitty bits of that screen just touched him, and he just caught on fire, and he had to go down to that DOT. And that's another kill for the blue team. We're at 3-6, but we're at an even level with a slight advantage in experience to the blue team. So we might get a level advantage here if they can kill another tower. Bottom tower for red team is pretty low, and the blue team's trying to make a push on it, but there's not that much they can do. Blue team is also clearing top as well in order to keep those keep the red team distracted at clearing those droids, maybe to stop the push on top to deal even more damage to towers. Like, blue team's got some surprisingly good push here, good like initiation, good kill potential, good like kill.
They're very well.
I forget. Yeah, they're very well rounded.
No, I got you. They're very well rounded. They have the damage. They have the sustain. They have that burst. They can basically do anything they want if they wanted to. And it looks like the engage is going to begin. The snare going to be a little bit late. Katobi going to take the front end of it as Rourke will pick him up, and Ketchup going to pick up Fouls, turning the tides once again. 5-6, and we are now evened up. As far as kills go, it's a 1 kill difference, but level-wise, we're even. And the continued push for the top in favor of HDTV. That should be the top turret. Badass Ketchup trying to get some residual damage in on that bottom and force Chun into the bot. Pushkin trying to board off Chun, and he'll do just that, but not before Chun hits an FU hammer on the way out.
Absolutely. We've got Clunk has got a good chunk of money, and if we look at what he just bought a couple seconds ago, we've got Salvo and we've got the AoE. He's going for that nice bite explode just missile damage combo there, as well as able to get some more range on the turrets and a little more damage on the turrets with those missile upgrades. And then if we look at Durple here, he's got double regen and double barrier, as well as the solid fist missile. So he's got the regen and the barrier for a lot of just perpetual sustain, as well as some raw damage reduction, 10%, which is not too shabby. You can't underestimate that damage reduction. That is like 100 damage off of 1000 damage nuke per se. And then we've got the oily spray on bronze, the attack speed bonus on the throw for Skoldir for that insane damage from auto attack after landing a throw, making it very useful, as well as raw throw damage in the boots. So he's going to be very good at brawling and initiating with that throw there, and more so than he already was. But we see the split coin from Rocco as well for that little bit of extra range and keep away, and some auto attack damage. So he's going for a bit of the auto attack kind of keep away poking thing instead of the precision shot like I thought he might, but it seems to make more sense against this beefy team. But we've got the nuke trying to come out and hit. Oh, he almost gets thrown into the nuke. That would have been an amazing combo from Skoldir and Chun, but like Rourke just barely gets away here. Chun's kind of hurt. He's gonna get hit by Ayla, but he's got the bindings, but the Evil Eye finishes him off, making it even for kills, 6 for 6. And they're gonna make a bit of a push here, maybe on bottom or top. We've got Rocco pushing top here, but Fowls is there in order to throw him and deal a bunch of damage with those combos. He's so hurt. He's so hurt for the nuke. They're both so hurt, but Pushkin's coming in. There's potential for a wipe here. Durple can jump up and maybe get a nuke or something, but there's not much he can do. They are so hurt. Like, can he chase? Ayla's got 130 health.
With lack of mobility on Durple, as well as a clunk around that Ayla, Katobi was unable to catch anything, but it looks like Ketchup is going to get picked up by Chun, kind of fighting around his turret area up top. He's just juking about. He's just jumping and using his jump height to escape and giving enough time for the entirety of HDTV to come to his rescue. Oh my god, what a play by Ketchup. He just abused that jump range as well as vengeance and tied Chun down, allowing enough time for the entirety of his team to come and save him. Perfectly executed.
Absolutely. Like I was thinking that at the beginning of this match, not HDTV, Badass Ketchup was like not doing too well. You know, that early game Rocket wasn't too strong against a team like this, and you know, almost a bit of a liability. But with this juking that he's doing, and he's getting these upgrades with the range and the split coin, he's going to be able to poke so well, and he's going to get those vengeance upgrades, I'm going to assume, with that maybe that extra slow and stun, and just be able to do so much work with that. So he's really like running it back with that with those couple of kills and like the juking that he's got. He's doing a really good job here. They're making a bit of a push on the bottom turret here, but the whole team is there, but the turret won't take any damage from those missiles. He tries to nuke in, but he hits Katobi with it. Katobi's gonna go down, but Funk hits a nuke, and he's so low, but Pushkin's gonna die to the turret. Just barely dies to the turret, and that is a 2-for-1 for the red team, but they are going to be able to kill that turret because the only person that died was their least valuable pusher. Fowls has to heal. He's going to eat a precision shot too, so he's got to heal even longer or go in with the less health. He's got the split arrows on, Rocco's got the split arrows on the bottom tower, dealing a little bit of damage. We've got the push on top turret as well, cracking that top turret and dealing about 1/3 of its health and damage. Another precision shot on Fowls as well. Fowls can't do too much. He needs his team there. Like, he's pretty good at defending. Skoldir is good at defending with the throw and the nice auto attack damage, but he's just gotta like wait for his team and really get that initiation. Like, what happened there at that bottom lane?
Honestly, Akio just kind of fell apart. They were relying on Katobi to land his snare, and it disappeared just as Rourke jumped into it, which allowed HDTV to get the 2 for none, as you said, or excuse me, the 2 for none, as you had stated. But Akio, they just kind of crumbled apart in that. Once that snare failed, it was all downhill from them. It cost them that bottom turret, that last engagement, as well as Katobi and Chun. Nuke just going to be launched out, going to be utilized to clear the droids. Katobi going back, and HDTV going to rotate up once again, but not before a double hammer from Chun is going to deal a little bit of damage on Rourke and Ketchup, but nothing that base regen won't help with. And the top push will continue. Badass Ketchup trying to deal some damage, standing right above the snare. Poor snare placement for Katobi up top, but he will land the snare on Rourke, who decides to go and bot. And it looks like HDTV is going to attempt to pick up Akio's Solar Balls, which they will do, and continue their push on that top turret. Pushkin gonna land the Evil Eye on his disengage, and it looks like we will go back a little bit. Somebody has to buy something somewhere.
Ooh, that throw from Fouls though. Something I wanted to jump in and mention is that auto attack from Rocco is just doing so much work. Both solar bosses are down for the red team as well, getting both those skills. That's 40 solar plus a nice chunk of experience. We've almost got a 3-level advantage for the red team. And Rocco's auto attack just doing work, keeping that keeping that team away. And then when he actually got thrown, he jumped up high enough that he would go into the wall rather than getting thrown into the turret, which is something that a lot of people know how to do, and it's a fairly common thing, but it's still really nice that it just stops you from getting killed from that Scoldier throw with all that auto attack damage. And like Rocco's really doing work for their team now. We've got like the nuke damage from Rourke, and they're just pushing this top turret so hard. What do they do? What does the Accio do right now?
Well, they kind of lost out on Fouls. He was rotating in the bottom, and the missed throw isn't going to allow them to pick up a kill and fight back on this. But Pushkin going to get caught by the snare. We're going to stand in front of it to soak some of the damage from the turret in the entirety of Accio, while Fouls, Katobi, and Chun are forced to defend for even longer. Fouls going in, attempting to get that bouncer throw, but will be unable to do so as Ketchup notices him jumping in and moves back ever so slightly, preventing it.
Absolutely. So we see Katobi trying to stabilize this top lane here. He's got some snare bites, or excuse me, not snare bites, snare traps here, a couple of them. Snare traps, since a long while ago, used to be affected by droids, but now they don't. So you can actually just kind of spam them there in the droid path, and it will not affect the droids. So you could actually wait for Knots to maybe foolishly pop into them and get a free kill. And it also persuades the red team not to push in and just kill this turret that has no health, but they might just do it anyways with the AoE missiles and the Rocco auto attack with split coin. He's just gonna push in anyways. They've got the first base exposure of the game. Katobi's hurt. They're very hurt. They've got all this tank killing power with Rocco and Ayla now, and Clunk's got that nice missile build too, getting the sustain as well with the extra damage on bite, as well as a bit of snare bite and barrier. And we've also got force field on Durple here as well, with a 21%. Yeah, 21% damage reduction, as well as the barrier, making that 31% damage reduction.
Oh dear. And let me tell you, 31% damage reduction on a Durple, who's probably just going to be playing beta at the moment. Definitely a good pick. Katobi and Fouls going to be rushing in. Rourke noticing that, and he will use that bouncer and jump up ever so slightly to not allow Fouls to land a throw. Fouls going to be looking for that throw. I mean, he did get Flaming Fist, which is going to increase his range on that third punch, which can only be beneficial. But the entirety of HDTV continuously harassing them in that bot lane, able to continuously shave off a few bars every single time. That bottom turret isn't going to be up for very long at this rate.
Absolutely, and then they're going to have the double base exposure. Ayla just going in, dealing some damage and like scaring them off. But there's the nuke. But the nuke hits every single one. A precision shot can kill 2 of them right here. But your Bindings manages to heal the scoop, and they're all going to go back to the base at the same time. If the red team can clear, they might be able to poke at the bottom turret here a bit, or sort of get the jump on the blue team. But with Clunk not there, they're missing their only tank. And they really need that beefiness, because they can still die to some well-placed auto attacks if they're not careful. And some well-placed just everything really. Hammer, Scoldier auto attacks, Durple auto attack, you should never underestimate that. But we've got Rocco getting hit by some stuff, gets thrown, but he gets thrown into the health pack. Chun misses the hammer and the bindings as well, and now he's getting chased by Ayla. He's very hurt, but Ayla manages to back off, or decides to back off to the bottom turret of the red team. And the bottom turret is actually pretty low for the red team, so maybe the blue team will try and make a push here and kill that turret before they lose all of their turrets. But Chun's gonna take a nuke to the face.
Yeah, that was not good positioning for Chun there. He was just in the wrong side of the neighborhood. Badass Ketchup gonna get assaulted by Fouls, but he's gonna be on the counter engage trying to pick up Fouls. He will be able to get that kill, and it looks like Katobi is gonna go down as well. And the bottom turret, excuse me, no, as you stated before, that top lane is completely empty, and the core is now opened. They're gonna opt for the core damage. They really should turn around and take that bottom turret though for that escape, because it's gonna be very difficult for all of them to escape. Constantly
that's
jumping
what
up on that.
Ayla's trying to do, but Chun is already back. But Ayla is killing the bottom turret, as is Rocco. Rourke is just tanking all that damage so that they can get the escape. The bottom turret goes down, so that is full base exposure for the red team. They're pushing the base super hard. It's already half health. Paul's just getting in there with the snare quick, with the height, the nice hammer. Both Badass Captain and Pushkin are both pretty hurt, but Katobi's just gonna get the nuke and hit Rocco. Katobi is so hurt, and he goes down, but that is 2 kills. Two kills on the blue team. It's Christmas time. Solar just raining from the sky. And now it's only Ayla left alive, but she is killing those solar bosses in order to make up for the money that the blue team got and get some extra experience as well, because they still have that 2-level advantage. And now, double base exposure for the red team / blue team, depending on how you look at it. What do you think the blue team could do to like capitalize on the fact that 2 members are still dropping?
With 3 bars left on the base, not much. Not much.
Oh, I was not paying attention to the health of the base past the halfway point yet. It's only at 3 bars. A nice backdoor from Rocco, or maybe even Clunk, will just immediately kill that base. A 1-level advantage still for the red team, but the blue team is finally starting to catch up on XP. But really, unless the blue team just kills everything. But here's Ayla going for the backdoor. She doesn't care. She's just got movement speed. There's Evil Eye, 108 damage auto attack, and she's just gonna fly away. Nobody cares. Like, she just flies. If she had the rubber band ball, she would be getting more health, but Pushkin just goes in. But because they have so many turrets left alive, even if the red team gets wiped, it will not be the end of the match, I'd say. They might only take one turret, but there's badass. Yeah, they can afford it, and it's only at half a bar. If Ayla does that one more time, it's over, but there's 2 kills. The blue team has to do something, anything, a miracle. We need, like, a miracle from the heavens to just be like, Accio, thou shall win, and then they get blessed with all the hacks and like ever made, and then they'll like win. But it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen.
Well, this might be it. They're trying to get this 1 turret push in, and a very nicely placed snare. If he placed a little bit lower, he probably could catch somebody off of the jumper. But there's no doubt that Rourke called that snare out in their chat, as he did, as Pushkin jumped in, completely missed that snare by jumping out. Val's gonna be taking some residual damage and he's gonna get picked up by Pushkin, and Pushkin will run to the core, and this might be it. Oh, he's going back.
Pushkin is getting cocky. He's getting cocky. He could have just read. He taunts. He's getting cocky, but he takes the nuke to the base. But it's only Katobi. He's just gonna nuke the base, and that's it. HDTV has won the match. Ayla getting just getting cocky and getting that extra kill, and then that's the 2-for-1, and then they win the game. There was no miracle. The miracle never happened, and just. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome turn of events for one team, and not so awesome for the other.
Oh, puns.
We're gonna be full of them all day. We'll be here all day, probably for the next like 6 hours or 7 hours, something like that. Anyway,
yeah, we're
ending
in for
of
a
that
long
game.
one.
How could that have gone differently for Akio? It looked like Akio had a commanding lead in the beginning. They had mid control. They had Durple in there with those snares, but once HDTV got to that mid game point, they really started to mess things up for Akio. They displaced them. You know, there were a few times that I saw Chun way out of position into HDTV's jungle, and he paid for it dearly with his life and probably a few turrets. But for the most part, I think that Akio did exceptionally well, and HDTV coming back and taking game 3 was just excellent gameplay on their end.
Absolutely. If I may have a word here. Rocco and Ayla, that's a lot of tank killing power, just good damage. I mean, like, if we look at the builds, like, we've got the slow, we've got the damage on Evil Eye, we've got the damage on Rage, movement speed, and size. Like, you can't do much about that. Plus, like, with the team comps, and if you look at the game duration, the game where HDTV won with that nice Durple and Clunk comp, they had mid control for basically 80 to 90% of the entire match. Plus, it was only 12 minutes. This match, Accio lost the mid control just a little too much to really like do anything with that, and it lasted just a little too long for the red team to get to the mid game there, get their nice upgrades. We got the stun, we got the nicotine patches, we got like the sort of luxury damage and sustain on Clunk. It's just, yeah, the game lasted too long for that Durple strat to work. It worked for the HDTV, but not so much for Accio, and that is a win for HDTV, and they win this set.
You know, one thing with Durple on Ribbit is if you get it going, it snowballs very quickly. But the longer the game goes, the less and less probable a win is, especially with a Durple due to the immobility. At that point, you have 2 engagers, that being Scoop and that being Skoldier, who can only do so much for a stationary Durple. And I'll say it once and I'll say it for the rest of my life. When you have a Durple on your team, you have to build around the Durple. What is the Durple trying to do, and how is he trying to do it? Is he going for snares? Perfect. You know, what form of CC can you add on to that so you can throw them into the snares? Val's case, having those snares.
If I may have one more word, it's like if he's building into nuke, build into your CC. If he's building the snares, you build into your damage. If he's building into cats, I'm so sorry. But I think that's
I'm
it.
sorry for your loss, but
I'm sorry, but either way, we're actually going to have a giveaway in the chat, so pay attention to the chat and look for that shiny new giveaway for that, you know, skins. Those skins will give you plenty of skill, according to Slow Wolf. But we will see you after the break for the next set of matches.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the finals of Awesome Brawl Weekly. We are here with the top 8 and we're going to give Uber a little break, and I am joined by the awesome, the amazing, the insane Devmon.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How's it going, Dev? How are you doing today?
Today I am tired. But I'm tired and excited because sleep is the thing you get when you finish all the games. But right now, this is really exciting. I've been with this tournament for the whole, well, I was supposed to say the whole week, sorry, the whole 6 weeks. And now we're going to the grand finals, so this is absolutely spectacular. And that prize pool is just, I keep looking at the prize pool going, oh man, I should have entered that tournament. But it's been hard to fight against these guys. These guys are some of the best players in the Awesomenauts community.
Yep, no, I agree 100%. That prize pool is pretty sweet, and everybody competing today is here for a reason. They are the best of the community, and they have pooled together their teams in effort to take home some of that prize pool. But without further ado, our next game of the day is going to be Harry Butchers and the boys taking on Knockout. Dev, would you like to take us through the bans and picks for game
Sure. 1? On Harry Butcher's side, they've banned out Yuri and Clunk on Aguilion. Yuri, of course, being annoying with his mines, blocking up all the jump pads and being an annoying monkey. Clunk being a solid pick otherwise, and pretty much synergizing well with the whole team. His CC, combined with his burst, pretty threatening. On the other side, Team Knockout has banned Ksenia and Vinny and Spike. Ksenia ban makes sense with the invisibility orb going on, and I believe it's the Vinny and Spike ban just because of last week. We saw Harry Butchers and the boys pick up Vinny and Spike and do quite well. In terms of the actual pickups though, Harry Butchers and the boys have picked up the Scoop, the Leon, and the Frog. That's basically a team you throw a hammer into, and you just go in there with a blender. On the other side, you've got Genji, Jimmy in the Lux bot, and you've also got Ayla on top of that, so you've got two interesting teams. One with heavy initiation, one with heavy counter initiation. So we should see some interesting fights going on.
Well, I do want to apologize. We've just been informed that we do have a technical issue with the draft screen. So for those of you who do want to know the drafts and picks, once again, it's going to be Harry Butchers and the boys banning out Yuri and Clunk and picking up Leon, Scoop, and Frog. And Knockout banning Ksenia and Vinny, picking up Genji, Ayla, and Jimmy. And as we stated before, the match is going to be played on Augyon. Devmon, if you are ready, I am ready. Let's get the countdown.
Right, on the 9-second mark, I'll count you down from 3 to go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
And
off
getting
to the races.
Sorry, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Getting into it, Harry Butchers and the boys. Harry Butchers is going to be playing his Leon. We have Paolo playing as the Frog and Nanduello playing Scoop, as opposed to Knockout being played by Genji being played by Sixy, Fur playing Jimmy, and Ayla playing Yolo.
That's right indeed. Actually, as for last week, I believe it was, I think Fear said his name is pronounced kind of like fear, like a fear, like you're afraid, or...
Fear, in a sense,
Fear.
but with little accent, fear?
Yeah, basically. That's the kind of thing you're looking at. In terms of other things you're looking at, you're seeing Cocoon go off, but the blue team not be able to initiate as much. They're trying to get the Jimmy the Luck spot in there with his good old-fashioned charge, but not going to be able to make much work of it. In terms of upgrades, you have your base upgrades on both sides, except for Leon's Quick Tongue into Silence, a good counter to Genji. Lots of damage going up. Leon's looking to get out of there, just because that Evil Eye and the Rage Down from Ayla. Looks like both teams don't really have the opportunity to kill each other quite yet, but I assume that a few upgrades we'll see some, we'll see some carnage going off.
Yeah, especially with Jimmy being the tank that he is. Paolo, a taunt! 6E is going to be the first kill of the game, as Paolo will pick up first blood. Yolo going to continue to hunt down Paolo, But Fear is going to take out Harry Butchers, and YOLO will take out Paolo, making it a 2-4-1 favor of Knockout.
That was quite an early kill, actually. A lot definitely on early. That Sounds Tongue really pulling Genji out of that position that he wanted to be in. You can see here that the tower defense is going quite well for Scoop, because Scoop with his hammer allows him to hold down a lot of people. So I think we'll see some quite early upgrades coming out, try to maximize the deaths early on. And other than that, you might see some farming for the most of it until the invisibility orb comes up, in which case there'll be lots of contesting for that.
How do you feel about Paolo opting for Clocks as a first buy?
As a first buy against a Jimmy, I actually don't think that's a terrible idea. I feel like having the extra splash dash off cooldown more often allows him to get into situations more often than I guess he should be. Especially useful against, say, Ayla with the fly, because he can avoid that burst damage a little bit more, and Jimmy, because that charge may, well, if he's not careful, it may screw him over.
Like the engage is going to continue, but with Nanduello picking up the invis, the rotation from all of Knockout, the engage is going to happen with 60 taking a lot of damage, but landing the cocoon. YOLO taking a lot of damage as well. Harry Butch is around half, and Nanduello half as well. But the entirety of KO just hovering around half HP. Harry Butch is going to get caught out by that cocoon, and looks like Fear is going to try and get that knockback from the behind, but he will not be able to do so. And the rotation game continues.
You see here, Frog's being really cheeky about the health creeps. Having that extra cooldown on Splash Dash and just being kind of that fast, squishy character, picking out those health creeps really allows him to put more pressure on the enemy team. See, the Splash Dash through the bouncer, hitting that Ayla, doing quite some nice damage and avoiding being bounced back up. Fair's going to launch missiles and not really be able to hit them. The red team, what they have going for them is a whole heck of a lot of mobility. Scoop may not be the fastest character out in the game, but for a tank, he's pretty darn fast, especially if you can stack on a yellow snow cone.
He's a secret initiator, as we call him. If he picks up yellow snow cone, like you said, but it looks like Paolo's going to get taken out. Nanduello going to be on the run. The hammer going to hit, and the prediction from YOLO as well as Fear will pick up Nanduello, making the lead 3 kills at the 4-minute mark. We're 1 level ahead in favor of KO, and Harry Butchers and the boys look like they're struggling a little bit. What can they do at this point to kind of come back from this early game deficit?
Well, given that it is early game and Genji doesn't have all his upgrades quite yet, only one stage of the spiritual cooking, I would say that they need to focus down the Ayla as much as possible. She is very squishy early game, and before she gets her pills and before she gets the prison guard keys, she may be the easiest target to take down. Otherwise, Genji needs to be focused more, but that may be a little bit more difficult, given that fact that, well, the whole blue team's there to defend Fear.
Paolo gonna get taken out by YOLO in rage. YOLO trying to continue the assault. Harry Butcher's getting very weak. He's gonna take those creeps on his side and try to clear up bottom as quickly as possible. All the meanwhile, the rotation from KO is gonna allow a continuous push in the top lane, shaving off even more bars. You know, a bar and a half at a push. YOLO actually gonna get assaulted by Harry Butchers and Nanduello, but he'll be able to get away. But, you know, a bar and a half off of each push, after time, it adds up.
Oh, definitely. I say that the fact that tower structure while all the damage doesn't regenerate is a big deal. Charge going off on Harry Butchers gets pushed into the tower. Low HP, but the invisibility is going to help him get away. Stung off on Fear, and they're not really going to end anything. Paolo just barely escapes with a sliver of HP. We see that, yeah, like you said before, the tower on the top is just being melted every once in a while. The blue team has access to some pretty good tower push through the Ayla and actually through the Jimmy, but they can only do it so often, given the fact that the red team has great defenders.
Yeah, but even at that point, like we keep talking about, just small pushes on it. Invis is going to go to Paolo. The engage is going to continue with the YOLO activating rage, and Nanduello getting very weak. He's going to be on the run. Paolo and Harry Butcher is going to pick up the kill on YOLO, making it a 1-for-none. And looks like Fear's going to try to make something out of nothing, and he's going to get caught out as well. He'll get picked up by Nanduello, and 5-3. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of a change here in favor of Harry Butchers and the boys, as their counter push on the top against 6E will be unmatched. Look at that! Look at how many bars are being taken off.
It just looked like it just bursted down. If you just blinked your eye, you pretty much say, oh, wait a second, where's that tower HP? Pretty sure I put my insurance claim on it.
And that was in 1 tower pushes compared to the few that KO has had, and they have virtually the same top and bottom tower HP.
That's quite impressive that they're able to do this. I mean, Leon's quite the good pusher, although he may not look like it. And in terms of upgrades, Leon doesn't really need to pick up anything to help him with the push. He can focus on assassination and still get that damage. In terms of actual upgrades that are being picked up, might have to wait 1 second as the Ayla is going to go in on the scoop, do lots of damage, and try to get out the invincibility picked up. Does not do so because Paulo finishes off with his fish gun and leaves Ayla in a grave situation. The dash from Jimmy's actually going to push Frog into a bad position, give him at low HP. Frog manages to get the kill and barely gets out. He has no HP.
Look at that counter engage. That counter engage from Harry Butchers and the boys is so potent, as they will probably take the first turret and push in a little bit to the second one, or opt to go for the second one instead. I don't know, if I were Harry Butchers and the boys, I'd try to get as much damage in on that top turret as possible. I don't want to get this game into late game and allow KO to stall longer than they need to.
Oh, definitely. And as was said before, and as has been seen, Genji with Spiritual Cooking, combined with, say, Hidden Leaves for the 40% damage reduction, and the extra HP, that's a late game I don't think anyone has the power to beat, besides maybe another Genji.
It's very difficult to combat. You know, when you have that type of sustain, and even his damage is so strong at every point in the game, Invis going to go to Fear, but his damage throughout the entire game is just so potent. Everything that Genji does, it's just very strong. He's easily S tier at the moment, and you know, earlier on, a few people have said it before, they don't know how he gets through the ban phase.
Oh, I guess maybe just because some people want to take advantage of Genji their own. Other than that, maybe a Leon or Ksenia, but that's not really going to help in this situation. Everybody just jumping on the bounce pad, getting right up from the top just to get some fighting going on. But nothing really coming of it. Blue team's looking a little bit worse for wear. However, Harry Butcher's in a bad position. If he can't get out there with the invisibility, which he has, he will have been picked off. One thing you need to keep in mind is that the slow on Ayla's Evil Eye will mark him with the glow, so he'll become an easy target if he is hit by that Evil Eye.
Now, I would, if I was Ayla in this position, maybe opt for some more slow on the Evil Eye. YOLO's going to get plastered a little bit by Paolo and Harry Butchers, but she'll be able to get out just fine. But yeah, maybe, you know, pick up some more slow, prevent that Frog from using his dash to its full capability, and just kind of keep him where you want him. Harry Butcher's going to launch that clone down, going to deal some residual damage. Here comes Nanduello for the bindings. Going to deal even more damage to 60 and YOLO. Fear is going to be in that as well. And it looks like Fear is going to be taking a lot of damage. He may be going down, but YOLO is going to be on the counter engage, just whacking Paolo and Harry Butchers, as well as 60. And the defense game has to be played by KO at this point. They can't afford to give up more kills.
I have to say, it's quite impressive. I guess as I see every single time that Harry Butcher's teams play, you have the aggression that's played very well. And in this case, you see Harry, is he going to get out? He's going to get out from all that AoE. It's kind of hard. Jimmy and the Luxbot's auto attack with that Rattle Wave is really good at detecting invisibility. Harry Butcher's is going to get away with barely any HP. But as I was saying before, Harry Butchers and his team very good at playing aggressively, and they know how to put their aggression into action. So, given that they, well, I guess against this matchup, they're playing incredibly well against the Genji, and I feel like if they can take the game pretty soon, that Genji won't even be a problem.
Well, you know, you never want to get to late game with a Genji. He can just do so much throughout the entire game, and when it gets to late game, it's even more potent. Engage is going to continue with Fear going in on all three members. He's going to be taken out in front of the turret as he got a little too overzealous, and it's going to force YOLO and 6E to push back a little bit. He's going to deal some residual damage to Harry Butchers, but get taken out by Nanduello and Paolo. That comp is so stupidly strong.
Well, there's nothing like having a strong burst initiation and having one of the most reliable silences in the game. That's something that Genji does not want to deal with, and that's something they've done and picked up well on. Given that Silence Tongue combined with all the other bursts, I think Harry Butchers is in a great position for that team comp. And even though Genji has the damage reduction through the shield, it's not quite enough, especially this time. However,
and Duello getting caught on the opposite end of Fear, and he's going to pay the price.
Oh, definitely. Probably 30 solar if I had to guess. Otherwise, looks like Blue Team still has some signs of life in them. They may be able to push back, and they're only a couple kills behind, and only a level behind too. So as long as they can prevent the tower damage, we might see a Blue Team out of them yet. Especially if they can hit that late game, as we keep saying. Genji is terrifying, and I don't think that's something that can't be said enough.
Like, the continuous push on bottom lane for KO will continue with those droids pushing it, obviously. And Fear is going to get the end of the tongue and get silenced, but not before Paolo's there for protection.
In terms of upgrades, I suppose, at this moment, since we have a downtime, we have interesting upgrades in terms of Jimmy picking up more auto attack upgrades. We have Genji getting that speed on Blessing combined with the DOT on auto attack, probably to nullify some of the regen effects that are growing on the on the red team there. Leon's got his full burst combined with backstep for just massive initiations. Frog with his double clocks, which is something that you see a lot more often nowadays, and splash dash damage. I might have to wait just a second as Harry Butchers gets pushed into a wall, smashed into basically smithereens, and picked off. However, Frog's gonna get in there with the splash dash, and Scoop's gonna get Cocoon. Scoop's gonna try to get out there, but the E-Block combined with the slow is enough DPS just to hold him down. Jimmy the Lux Bot is gonna dash in there with the danger pins and finish off the Frog as well. Looks like Blue Team's doing a really good job going to 2 to 3, or rather 2 up to their 3 down.
Nice counter push for them now, as they'll be able to take out that bottom turret and make the game even, literally even. The only thing that's different is a bit of solar and a little bit of XP, but otherwise, kills go and upgrades go. KO is going to go back to buy and even out those upgrades in comparison to Harry Butchers and the boys.
In terms of upgrades, there's one I like to see on Leon. You have the Electrifier, the Slow and Blade, which means, well, if you thought they could get away now, they're not going to be able to do so. So they're going to re-focus in on one target, re-hold them down, and get that burst off guaranteed, pretty much.
Engage not going to begin, as 60 is going to miss the cocoon. But, you know, when you have both teams rotating like this, anything can happen at any moment. Harry Butcher's going to get down on Fur, and there you go. Half of Fur's HP jump, Fear's HP gone in one tick, basically, by Harry Butchers and Nanduello.
And it's quite scary to see. I mean, Scoop with all his bursts and bindings right now, you've got the Ice King for the extra burst at the end, and you've even got Banner the triple Scoop for that, basically what I call a chainsaw around him. Quite devastating. They've just got all the initiation that they need to play aggressively, and they are taking full advantage of that. Right now it seems to be stagnating a little bit as the blue teams actually picked up a few kills and cemented their HP in a better position. Have Cocoon going off on Paulo. Paulo's going to get pushed into a bad situation, pushed against the wall, you have danger pins, and it's going to get picked up by Genji and his DOT wand. Meanwhile on bottom you have Harry Butchers looking to get out of there, and leaving Nandel in a poor position. Being trapped between a Jimmy and the is not really the best place to be, and that's going to result in him just being picked off by the danger pins.
Yeah, being caught between a rock, a hard place, a Jimmy, Ayla, and a Genji is not the best position to be in for anybody. But looks like KO will begin their push on the top turret. Fear going to take a decent amount of the damage from Harry Butchers. Harry Butchers can't really get close to this because he'll just take a stupid amount of damage. Now he'll go in and pick up Fear, as KO is going to be forced to retreat back and disengage, but not before taking off a little bit less than half HP from Harry Butcher's top turret.
You hear that Harry Butcher's going to take those health creeps like they were being taken in the earlier game. Looks like it could go either way, I'd say, at this point. And although Genji is scary, he hasn't got some of those key upgrades. He's focused more on his auto attack damage, going for that DOT and also the Storm Drum, and now picking up plastic frame beads to max out the damage on his auto attack. Seems like he could be picking up some other upgrades, say like some Cocoon upgrades for extra push or whatnot. Meanwhile, Frog has actually picked up an interesting upgrade in the form of Arbe, looking to probably reflect some Cocoons, looking to reflect Evil Eyes, maybe even some missiles.
Oh no, it's a very smart upgrade to pick up. If he even went Shield and Arbe on this, I wouldn't blame him, although a lot of people say it's a very stupid thing to do. It kind of does help, considering that Arbe only lasts for that 0.08 second, or 0.8 seconds, I believe.
That's correct.
So, you know, Shield can only help you, especially if you're getting constantly initiated on. Fear going to get initiated on. He's going to take the brunt end of damage, but not before the Genji, Blessing, and Cocoon. Paulo, it may be taken down by DOT if he can't get that HP creep, but he does and will survive just narrowly as Harry Butchers goes back, and Nanduello is going to hang out in the creep section while the entirety of KO looks like they're going to go back and kind of regroup.
That's all fair for them. You can see that some builds are actually starting to really fill out now. You have the Leon with his auto attack damage going for the chainsaw rather than Glove of Honor, backstab, and of course your Electrifier Blade to slow them down as much as possible. Frog's still going for that burst, got some tornado damage going off. You have Scoop actually pick up the Twister Lance as well as the Fruity Sprinkles, looking for maximum snare to capitalize on kills basically. Meanwhile, Ayla's got her Prison Guard keys that are starting to get them. Was on a Sonic listening device, she is a monster as soon as she gets to the jungle. Otherwise, Jimmy Lux buckling for more auto attack, and Genji still looking to tank up a little bit just to survive as much as possible.
Looks like both teams are going to stay in the top lane for this one. The Blessing going to be used as a method of engage, but nothing will come out of it as the entirety of Harry Butchers and the boys just walks away from KO as they attempt to start that engage. And Fear going to get collapsed on by the entirety of Harry Butchers and the boys. He'll be able to escape, and Harry Butchers taking a lot of damage. Splash dash coming in from Paolo, not going to be able to pick up a kill on anybody. And Fear will be going back. And Harry Butchers and the boys might be able to get a counter push off of this. Paolo going to land the splash dash. A lot of damage being dealt to YOLO, and YOLO being collapsed on will be another kill for Harry Butchers and the boys.
Well, we're even. 11 to 11 at 11-11. Of course, the time being 17-16, so that's not another 11. However, again, go either way. Both teams are playing very well, and there's a lot of aggression, especially from Fear with the charge there, pushing people into walls. That's something he does very, very well. And it seems that we're getting to the point where a couple kills, a double kill, probably determine what's going to happen for the next little bit of the game. So Oz, do you think? What do you think to win? Who do you think's in a better position at the moment?
It's a decently even game. I mean, although Harry Butchers and the boys do have some turret HP on knockout, it can turn around at any moment. Like, double kills at this point are the equivalent of a turret being taken down. It will happen regardless of what happens. So both of these teams kind of have to play a little bit more on the safe side, pick their engagements very carefully, and for Harry Butchers and the boys, they can't focus Fear because he's not dealing the damage. He's literally there as an engage tank, and he gets out as soon as he does his job. But they are going to have to focus him, and excuse me, are going to take him out. But YOLO will also get taken out. And 6E, here's that double kill that we were talking about. It's definitely going to be the bottom turret and potentially the game. Now that 6E has been taken out and a team wipe for Harry Butchers and the boys, they're going to be able to take down that bottom one. They'll be able to easily tank that and proceed to the core.
Well, there we go. Do you think this will be the end of the game, though? Do you think the red team's going to be able to respond in time, or the blue team's going to respond in time and be able to defend that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Jimmy coming in hot. I mean, not a lot of damage being dealt to the core for that many people. It is down to half, so excuse me again. A lot of damage is being dealt. But it looks like YOLO's going to try and get in for the cleanup on this, while Harry Butchers is going to be dealt some damage. Paolo dealing some damage to YOLO with that splash dash. Going in once again. Trying to escape, he will be unable to do so as Naduello is now on the brunt end of Knockout, and Knockout may be able to turn this around if they opt to tank one of these turrets out. Harry Butcher is going to opt to go back, but they will not be able to get this turret push as they have to defend their top.
Which is really unfortunate for them. If they did have the droids on their side, they would have really... Well, they've knocked down that tower. Well, we saw Harry Butcher's team push the bottom tower. I think the same would have been in reverse for their team. Actually, they are tanking the tower. They're just going to take all of that damage, and they do actually get a few bars off the top tower. I think at this point, given the basic closure that's going on, their best hope is probably to rush that top tower as soon as possible and finish off the core in another double wipe or so.
Well, at this point, no matter how long this game goes on, Harry Butcher should be building into his clone army, start building that walking clone, deal some residual damage on the core, especially if KO is unaware of it.
Well, we may not see that. Jimmy Luxbox going on top, Ayla's on bottom. It looks like the red team, Harry Butcher's team, is in a good position to get aggressive on one of them. 6E's a little bit low on HP, looking to grab some health cubes to top up. And we might see the end of the game here just in a second. Looks like the tension is high, and Fair's going in. He's getting aggressive, going to get silenced, going to get slowed, take some damage, but that's going to be okay. Meanwhile, the Leon's going to pick up the invisibility and leave the blue team in a position where they are. The damage from Prog on Genji's going to do a ton, not quite finish him off. Meanwhile, Fear's in a bad position, gets picked up by Scoop Findings, leaving Yellow really low and unprotected. Yellow's going to try to escape, goes to the jump pad, uses the rage to get a little bit more mobility, grabs the health creep with the tog placing device to heal up, but it is unable to survive. Could have used that second creep to really top off.
And I just want to point out what YOLO was attempting to do there. He knew he was dead. He was just trying to stall and buy some time for the respawn timer. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, as the entirety of Harry Butchers and the boys will proceed to take Game 1 against Knockout. Now, as far as builds go and how that game could have gone differently for KO, what happened there?
Well, Harry Butchers and the boys, I think the early aggression that they had really helped cement their place into the game. He has had fantastic counter initiation from Knockout, but it wasn't quite enough to really hop over the Harry Butchers team. Otherwise, Not really sure in terms of builds. Maybe it's more slow than AO's Evil Eye, maybe more focuses on the counter initiation. So if Knockout had been focusing on one target during the counter initiation, pick up the kills and try to get ahead on Solar to get Genji to his late game, that may have done a little bit more for them. Otherwise, it was pretty close. It just, pretty much a coin flip at that point.
Yeah, you know, we pointed out earlier that a double kill was going to mean a turret, and that's exactly what happened. Harry Butchers and the boys got that double, paved the way to the core in the bottom lane, and just went to town from that point. As far as Fear goes, he was in there quite often, and if it wasn't for Sixy, he'd be dead a lot quicker. He was their engage tank. He was there to do his job. He got out when he had to. Unfortunately, Sixy and YOLO couldn't pick up the kills after that. But as the story goes, that is going to be game 1. Keep an eye out on the chat. We will be right back as we are going to set up game 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We had to let the beat drop for you guys.
What kind of farmer are you if you can't let the beat drop?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of farmer I am. I'm a droid farmer, actually. I'm
There
an
you go.
XP farmer. That's the only farming I like to do. Anyway, as we last saw, our first game on Aoyan, Harry Butchers and the boys with the comeback to take game 1. Going into game 2, we're going to be on Aoyan once again. Deb, would you like to take us through the bans and picks for game 2?
I can indeed. So, on the Harry Butcher's team, again, this is Agilon for a second time on our best of 3. We have Yuri being banned out, as well as Genji. Well, as we